5 ancient Roman gladiators. Who were the most renowned Roman gladiators? From slave rebel Spartacus to debauched emperor Commodus, they varied widely. Who were the most famed gladiators of ancient Rome? Before the combatants fought grisly one-on-one battles for sport in rowdy public arenas like the Colosseum, they squared off in much more solemn venues – funerals. Early gladiator fights began in the 3rd century B.C.E. as ritual blood offerings to the spirits of recently departed nobles. That changed around 27 B.C.E. when Augustus took power in Rome, says Michael J. Carter, a classics professor at Brock University in Ontario. He detaches gladiatorial combat from its purely funerary context and makes it into a regular part of the entertainment cycle in Rome. This shift gave rise to some of the most famous gladiators today: Spartacus, Spiculus, Marcus, Attilius, and more. Most gladiators were enslaved people forced to fight, but a small contingent were free-born citizens who volunteered in hopes of earning money and fame. Before they could enter combat, gladiators trained for months in specialized schools managed by wealthy investors who profited from their fighters' success. Contrary to popular perception, gladiators didn't necessarily battle to the death. Instead, fighting progressed until one of them surrendered, usually by holding up a single finger. All told, only between 10 and 20% of gladiators died during matches, a reflection, in part, of their high financial value to investors. It wasn't easy for gladiators to stand out. Each warrior fought only 2 to 3 times per year, usually in events featuring 10 to 13 gladiator fights, according to Murray, with each individual match lasting about 10 to 15 minutes. But some, owing to their extravagant personalities, personal backgrounds, or memorable performances, gained lasting renown via ancient artists or historians. Here are 5 gladiators still remembered centuries later. Marcus Attilius. A free-born Roman, Attilius enrolled in gladiator school seemingly of his own volition, making him part of a small but elite pool of gladiators who volunteered to fight. To make matches as equal as possible, Roman overseers generally assigned gladiators to compete against people of roughly similar experience level, novices against novices, experts against experts. But when Marcus Attilius first stepped into an amphitheatre in Pompeii as a tiro, a term for a new gladiator, he faced Hilarius, a veteran fighter who had won 12 out of 14 matches in his career, equal to several years of experience as a gladiator. In a stunning performance, the young Marcus Attilius not only fought Hilarius to a surrender, but in his next battle defeated another 12-time winning gladiator. The back-to-back upsets prompted Pompeian graffiti artists of the time to memorialize his achievement. While Attila was not widely known across the Roman Empire, one scholar suggests his fame was only regional at best. His renown in Pompeii came at a convenient historical moment in 79 AD. Just a few decades after Attilius' fights, Mount Vesuvius erupted and buried the city and its graffiti, preserving his legacy for centuries. Speculus. Speculus attended gladiator school in the Italian city of Capua, where he must have shown immense promise. In his first amphitheatre match, he squared off against Attilius, a veteran gladiator and free Roman who had won 16 fights. In a stunning upset, Speculus beat, then killed Attilius. His triumph gained the attention of Rome's then Emperor Nero. Taking a liking to Speculus, Nero lavished him with gifts, including a palace. This placed the young gladiator in a peculiar social position, technically enslaved but living in luxury, attended to by servants who were themselves enslaved. In 68 AD, as Nero faced a rebellion in the empire and near certain death, he asked his friend Speculus to execute him. But Speculus either didn't get the message or refused, and Nero took his own life. Afterwards, Roman citizens protesting his brutal reign began uprooting and destroying the emperor's statues, according to the writer Plutarch. The mob then used them to crush his friend Speculus to death. Commodus. Today, Commodus is best known as the Mad Emperor, whose disastrous rule from 180 to 192 AD marked the end of Rome's Golden Era, also known as the Pax Romana. The son of Marcus Aurelius, Commodus became co-emperor with his father at age 16. He rose to power on his own in 180 AD, after his father died, possibly from disease, possibly by murder. Crude, lewd and debauched, according to early historian Aelius Lampridius, Commodus kept a harem of 600 boys and young women and considered himself a god, believing he was the reincarnation of Hercules. He often walked around the palace enrobed in the mythic strongman's signature lion skin. Not surprisingly, Commodus also styled himself as a gladiator. He purportedly entered the ring 735 times, often fighting against animals, but occasionally battling other gladiators. Commodus wasn't particularly skilled, but no rival fighter dared hurt or kill a reigning emperor, wrote historian Herodian. Wounding Commodus seemed like a certain path to their own grisly death. Flamma. The Syrian-born gladiator who rose to fame under the reign of Emperor Hadrian, 117 to 138 AD, is best known for the length of his career and for being awarded his freedom 4 times and repeatedly turning it down. Flamma finished an impressive 34 matches, mostly in Sicily. He owed that long career not just to his success in the amphitheatre, but also to the mercy of event organisers. He received some 13 reprieves, in which umpires spared his life during a defeat or crowned both competitors as winners. Flamma's record shows just how dependent gladiators were on the mercy of umpires, who could either save a losing gladiator's life or allow the opposing fighter to land a death blow. Flamma finally died at the age of 30, older than many of his peers. Spartacus. The most prominent gladiator in ancient Rome never actually fought in an amphitheatre at all. Spartacus, memorialized in the 1960 Kirk Douglas film of the same name, was likely born in the Balkans and was sold into slavery to train at a gladiator school in Capua. In 73 B.C.E., still early in his training, Spartacus grew fed up with the abuses of gladiator school. He ran away and took refuge on Mount Vesuvius. Soon, thousands of other enslaved gladiators fled their schools and joined Spartacus, as he organized one of the most famous uprisings in ancient Rome, the Third Civil War. In 72 BCE, a year after he fled, Spartacus led an army of enslaved people, by some estimates as many as 100,000, to fight the Romans in Gaul. His success spurred the Roman Empire into action, and at Luciana the next year, General Marcus Licinius Crassus crushed the rebels. Nearly all of Spartacan's army perished, including Spartacan himself.